Hello friends, this is the Mind Killer, and we are back with another patch notes update. So we're going to go over these patch notes real quick and just see what all got changed. Patch notes 04, and if you want to find these yourself, you can go to twitter.com/playprophecy. They have their Discord in their bio, which you can find the patch notes on their Discord as well. Or you can just click on the twit longer on the tweet. So let's go through this real quick. They have updated the HUD with some new visuals. Right-clicking on a unit will toggle between the stats and abilities, which is a really nice quality of life feature. They've added the ability to spectate custom games. Apparently that was in and working and they just didn't make it available or something like that. So it's nice that you can now watch games. Leader trait effects. This one's really cool. In my video on getting started in Prophecy, I talked about how one of the things that might elude you as a beginner is that you can't see the fact that your leader benefits from trait bonuses. Well, now your leader will now show up to 6 active traits applied to them during the match. Only the 6 most owned traits will be shown around the leader. I'm assuming that's a visual thing to keep it clear. But you're rarely going to be having more than 6 traits, and it says the most owned, so I'm assuming ones with 4 and 6 will be available compared to something with 2. They renamed Crystalline to Silence and Tech to Disarm, obviously just to be more clear about what those do. And they've added some new items. That's cool. Emperor's Vambraces. Vambraces? I don't know. Attacks made against you increase physical damage by a flat amount. Narcissus's Mirror has damage reflect from 100 to 200%. That's interesting. That would be probably good on a fighter, I would think, right? Avalanche Claymore, gain flat damage, physical damage per 1 second. And Avalanche Staff, gain a percentage of magical damage per second. Also very interesting. I wonder if that's supposed to be a percentage for physical and they had a typo there. Maybe not. Maybe it is flat damage. Because this is flat damage as well. Interesting. So those will be helpful too for some of our damage dealers. Avalanche Bow, gain attack speed per 1 second. Also very cool. I feel like we need more attack speed items. I feel like I never see enough attack speed items when I'm running hunter builds. Anyway, let's go on to balance. Units. On her will target the furthest enemy, and his ability stun duration now scales from 3 to 6 seconds. That's important that he has a longer stun the more stars he has. That's going to be great for him, especially when fighting a single target. Chernabog has a new ability. It's kind of the same ability, just with more evasion, it looks like. He's going to fire 3 bolts at the enemy with the highest maxed health, dealing 20 to plus 25% of the target's max health as true damage over 3 seconds. Okay? We'll see if that helps him out. He's kind of the runt of the litter of the hunters. Most people pass on him even when they get him early. Max mana is decreased from 100 to 70. That'll be a big help. That'll mean he'll be able to get his ability that much faster. Karkadan's ability launches an enemy into the air, dealing 150 plus 25 damage to the target and damage to people nearby when it lands. Enemies hit by landing lose protections for 3 seconds, from 20 to 100%. That's important. That will mean those people will take more damage during that time. So that can make him pretty useful, especially early. The Minotaur attack damage increased from 75 to 100, but the attack speed is decreased from 0.66 to 0.6. So he's getting a small nerf there. That's not too big. I mean, it's only 0.06. But his attack damage is getting increased by 25. So he's probably going to do a bit more damage over time. And he's already a pretty powerful guy. You did not want to get hit by him. Ymir's health increased from 600 to 700. Ability stun duration scales from 2 to 6 seconds. Also very cool, just like on her. The ability stun is scaling over time. That's great. Arachne now applies anti-heal with her attacks, and her protections have been increased from 25 to 45. Excellent. Now she will actually be a fighter. Like, you pick up Arachne as a fighter, but she doesn't have very good protections, so she doesn't last long. She gets maybe 2 spiders out, maybe 4. If you put some nice item on her like Ankh, maybe she can get more spiders out. But now she will be much more of a fighter, and with anti-heal especially, we need more anti-heal in this game, so that is fantastic. She will definitely be a more popular pick now. Chronos attack speed increased from 0.8 to 1, and his attack speed buff and debuff now scale from 25% to 50%. I love that they're adding the scaling in here. It really makes a lot of sense to keep some of these more common, because these guys are all the Minotaur and Ymir are common, and Arachne and Chronos are uncommon, so having them scale over time keeps them relevant even into the late game. That's fantastic. Dryad attack speed increased. That's important. Dryad doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but every time she attacks, she builds up her mana, giving her faster ability with attack speed. So that's important. Hachiman, same thing. Attack speed increased. Not quite as much. The Dryad, a mage who heals, has apparently better scaling attack speed than Hachiman. That's okay. Poor Hunter. Khepri, protections increased. Oh my gosh. Protections increased from 55 to 100. That's nearly double. Great, because Khepri was pretty lackluster. I kind of wish they would change Khepri's ability so that he can use it on himself, because he doesn't seem inclined to do that. That would, I think, be a good change for Khepri. But that's not in the patch. That's just me ruminating. Medusa, the passive now scales from 25 to 50%. That's good. Uller protections increase from 25 to 40, giving him a little more viability. That's good. Amaterasu, her health is increased from 800 to 950, and her starting mana is increased from 0 to 20, which means she'll be able to get her ability online faster, and she's going to last longer in fights. That's great. I don't pick up Amaterasu very much. Generally, if I'm picking up a purple tank, I'll probably get Khepri because I like him, or I'll go with Achilles because he's a fighter. He's not a tank, but he's usually pretty tanky. So this will definitely be better incentive to pick up Amaterasu more often. Artemis, the Tusky attack increased from 67 to 100, and Tusky health increased from 600 to 800. Wow. That's fine. I've definitely gotten owned by some Artemis Tuskies recently, but obviously it's not overall been very effective, so they're buffing the Tusky boar. Khepri now has CC immunity while using his ability. That's great because it's a huge waste when he starts to use that ability and immediately gets knocked out of it. And his ability damage is decreased from 720 to 600. So they're nerfing it a little bit, which is good because he, as a tank, he shouldn't be doing that crazy amount of damage. But he'll be able to keep doing it. He's not going to get interrupted, so that's fantastic. Chronos attack increased from 70 to 90. Also interesting. Usually only pick up Chronos for his ability that polymorphs everyone, which is a super strong ability, crazy strong. When you get it off, you can turn the tide of a game. But yeah, he hit like a wet noodle, so it's good to give him better attack. Geb's max health is increased to 850. That's only a small buff, but any buff is a good buff, I guess. Agni, thank you. Thank you, Prophecy. Lord. Damage per ability hit reduced from 250 to 225. It's not a huge nerf, but I mean, getting an Agni could literally turn the tide of a game. Literally, you could go from losing to winning just because you got an Agni and they didn't. So getting that nerf is nice. Cerberus. Apparently people still aren't picking up Cerberus despite the changes in the last patch. So he's getting more health, more protections, and an ability damage increase. Interesting. Huyi's attack speed is increased all the way to 1. Which is more than Dryad and Hachiman. We're 0.5 and 0.8. He's going from 0.71 to 1. So they really want people to start picking up Huyi, and he's going to hit more and more. This one I saw, and I think is really cool. Pele, ability critical strike chance increased from 0 to 50%. So it wasn't critting at all, and now it has half a chance to crit. And Pele's ability flies across the map. Like, she goes through a bunch of people, so she can crit a whole team with this now. And assassins are already built around crit. They get more crit when they get upgraded, and usually build crit damage like force on them. So having crit chance on her ability is pretty nuts. She's also getting a starting mana increase, so she's going to get that ability faster, and her max mana is reduced. so it's going to be even faster. Set's new passive gives him crowd control reduction, which is great because he tends to get nuked a lot if you don't build him kind of tanky. Xingqian's targets are thrown by the ability are now stunned for 2 seconds upon landing. Fantastic. It's already a kind of a stun because it kind of sucks people in and holds them for a second before throwing them. So that's going to be a long time you're incapacitated with a Xingqian. Kukulkan's ability damage increased from 350 to 400. That's funny. I guess they think that ability hasn't been very effective. I've definitely seen it be effective and not effective, but that's great. I mean, that's great for Kukulkan. So now I think the idea here is to pick up a variety of legendaries, because these are all legendaries. Agni, Cerberus, Huyi, Pele, Set, Xingqian, and Kukulkan are all legendaries. So I think the idea here is to add a little more variety in the units you're picking up. Obviously, Guan Yu and King Arthur are not in here, and those two are two of the more popular ones. Leaders. Thor is getting a buff. Fantastic. Attack increased from 97 to 115, and physical protection increased from 45 to 50. He is a fighter. It makes sense that he has better physical protections. New passive at the start of combat. All allies gain 20% increased damage for 12 seconds. Okay. Susanoo. Attack increased from 92 to 125. New passive. All allies gain 30% increased attack speed for 12 seconds. Okay. Those are both good buffs for lackluster leaders. Zeus attack increased from 54 to 71. Also good for Zeus. I imagine that'll help him a lot more early. Once he starts getting his ult online and he can do some damage with that, he's usually pretty good, but it takes him a while to get there. Bug fixes. I looked through these. The big ones are that Arcane 6, Demon 6, and Intelligence 6 were not providing what they were supposed to provide at those levels. So that's a huge change, and that's going to mean a lot for picking those up. Jingwei could not proc Bewitched Buckler, which is the one I believe that gives you a shield on ability use. I don't know why you would really often run that on Jingwei anyway, but it's good to know it was fixed. Kukulkan's ability was fixed. Scroll of Stifling would only apply once per round sometimes, so now it's just going to apply all the time. And Scroll of Stifling is where your ability silences people. So Zhongqi ability can silence a giant area, and that's a really good item for AoE. All right, and then there are a couple of other item fixes. So that's about it. We are going to try this out later today, but for right now, that's the changes in the patch. And remember, you can go to Play Prophecy on Twitter to see the changes yourself. A lot of these are very good. Obviously, most of the legendaries got buffed in some way, so that's going to be better incentive to pick those up. And definitely Artemis has got a buff, so that's going to be interesting. And a couple of the early ones. So they're kind of buffing the two extremes from left to right there. So definitely look for Minotaur, Ymir, Arachne, and Chronos. Probably Chronos you'll want to try because I'm sure you probably only played him once or twice and didn't like him. Because I've done that and I didn't really like him. And we'll keep an eye out on some of these orange characters like Pele. I'll try Pele now. Set's been my go-to assassin between the two of those, so I'll definitely have to try Pele instead. And that's it. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you out on the battlefield.